Hi, I'm Zach Davis, and this is my interview with Mr. Lawley from the band for my journalism class.
Hello.
Alright, so first one. What got you interested in music?
Well, my family was all interested in music. My grandparents, my mom played some piano and sang in the church choir. Both my siblings, older siblings, were both in band, and so it was just something that we did growing up as a family. And I took piano lessons as a little kid, and for a couple of years, and decided to quit. And I wish I hadn't. That was something that really could have propelled me later on, but I'd always been around it, and so decided to be in band once I was a middle school student, and then the rest is history, I guess.
All right. So that leads me to my next question. What instruments did you play as a kid?
As a kid, as I said, I played some piano as a little kid, and then when I started in band, I played trumpet. And actually, that was my main instrument all the way up through college, when I switched to another brass instrument called euphonium, which is also called a baritone. So those were my main instruments. Now, of course, as a band director, you have to know how to play everything. It's not that you're good at all the instruments, but you have to at least know how to get a pretty good sound on every instrument so that you can teach other students how to do it. So I've studied all of them to some degree, and but I would say that at this point the euphonium would be my main instrument, even though I grew up as a kid, middle school and high school kid, playing trumpet.
Alright, so sticking mostly to brass, right.
Yes.
Okay, so what kind of education did you have to undergo to become a band teacher?
Well, you have to have a degree in music education. So I have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in music education, both from the University of Southern Mississippi. And there's training just like in any collegiate program, but it's very specific to, again, like I mentioned, learning about all the instruments, and you have to learn rehearsal techniques and music theory, and so it's a very involved process as far as getting a music ed degree. But it is called a Bachelor's of Music Education is what you would have to have at minimum.
All right. Also, stop me if I repeat one, by the way. Okay, so have you always lived around Chelsea?
I grew up in Shelby County. I grew up in Montevallo, which is in southern Shelby County, and went to Montevallo High School, graduated from there, and then, as I mentioned, I went to University of Southern Mississippi, and then I moved back to start teaching, and worked in Jefferson County for 4 years, and then I've been in Shelby County now for this will be the 14th year in Shelby County. So I've always lived in the Birmingham area, grew up, and then have taught around in this area for all those years.
All right, a very actually inspiring question. What inspired you to become a band teacher?
Ooh, that's tough. Well, I guess the main point was that I had very good teachers. I had band directors. There was a guy that had been there a long time. He was sort of a legend, and then he retired at the end of my 10th grade year. And then we got a new director that I had for 11th and 12th, and he was equally as good. He was very different, but equally important to me. And so I just had very fun, positive experiences as a high school band student, and I guess I just wanted to continue that and try to offer those experiences for other students down the line in the same way that I had. So I was just very lucky to have had very good teachers that cared, and that were demanding and expected excellence, and they just the whole experience, I guess, just was the inspiration. Just the feelings that you had, and the success and the fun, all of that, just sort of all working together, inspired me to keep going.
Okay, so All right, I heard you mention that you've been teaching for about 13 years, or yeah,
18.
18. So I guess that's my next question. How long have you been doing it? All right.
Okay, that's well, 18 years. This is my 18th year teaching. So I started in 2004-2005 school year. That was my first year, and so this is starting the 6th year here at Chelsea, and then I've taught at Montevallo High School for 8 years, and then my first 4 years were in Jefferson County, as I mentioned, at Pinson Valley High School.
What do you think the best thing you've ever done as a band director?
Ooh, the best thing I've ever done as a band director, I think, is see the progress and the maturity of rehearsing and seeing the process from when you start, for instance, starting in July with marching band all the way up through when we may give a really top-notch performance in October at a contest, for instance, and how much has to happen in between that, and riding the ups and downs and getting to where the students are confident and ready to perform it at their very best. I can't think of any specific time because it happens every year. Everything starts early and then you progress through, and so that I think that's my favorite part is putting in work little by little, pretty much every day, shooting for a goal. It's not an immediate gratification. It takes a lot of work, takes a lot of time, but as you do it little by little, you work your way there, and I think that's one of the most gratifying things about this.
All right. Okay, so building off of that, what's your least favorite thing about being a band teacher then?
Okay, the least favorite, sometimes the time factor. So there are very long days, where we're in school all day, and then we may have practice or something, and so the amount of hours, and it's not all year long, but for instance, right now in this time of year, it's pretty easy to get tired, and just because of all the activities and the events that we do. So that's probably my least favorite thing, is just in some parts of the year, it's just there's a lot of time involved, and sometimes it's kind of hard to recover and not just feel sort of tired a lot.
This might be our last one. What are the biggest challenges of activity days? What are the biggest challenges of activity days? Game days, competition days, stuff like that.
The biggest challenges of a game day, well, mainly it's not necessarily on that day, but it's leading up to it, so that you, as you're going that week or even prior to that, you have to have things in motion that you need to know that happen. So a lot of times you need to be planning that stuff out well in advance. And so if that's done, then a lot of the stress of an activity day or whatever is already sort of taken care of. Then you're just working through the various activities, and again, just trying to stay energetic and positive, and knowing that it's going to be a long day and a busy day. So a lot of the work is done well ahead of that, in organizing and planning and making sure this is going to happen. And if you wait until just that day to do it, you're going to be too far behind, and it's going to be a disaster. So you have to plan and work way ahead of time.